Welcome back, everybody, to another solo leveling Arise video. First off, I want to say thank you to a big shout out to you guys for joining all the live streams. It's been an absolute blast. We've had I think almost 30 hours worth of live streams since the game came out, and it's been just amazing experience playing this game. I do want to talk about two topics. First off, I want to talk about the quick discussion, the big controversial discussion of global and Canadian servers and tile servers, so early access server versus global. And the one thing I want to talk about when I released the video yesterday about the actual instructions that we're all going to be on one grand server, it doesn't mean you're not going to be in clusters. Okay, I want to make sure you guys understand that. So for all the new early players, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. And why I mean that, and I said this in the last video, is because we're all going to be sitting in these little semi clusters in one big mainframe essentially, or one big server. So if you look here, the account settings, for example, I'm on server 31. Okay, so this means I'm separated from anyone else from server 1, 2, 3, all the way up to whatever. The only people I'm competing with are the people on server 31. So in terms of my actual leadership board, if you look at the events, right, the only people that I have to actually worry about are the people in my server. So for all the brand new players who are going to be joining, you're just going to be sitting inside a server to compete with the rest of the people who are in that server. So don't stress too much about it. You're not competing against all these big whales who have 2 months access. You're not competing with anyone who's been playing in Canada, etc., etc., etc. I just want to, I know it scared a lot of people because that's just the information we got out, but you have to understand, we're all going to be sitting in our own little clusters of servers. So don't worry, you're going to be fine. You can play this game and not stress too much about it, okay? I just want to clear the air on that one because I think this has rattled a lot of people. I said people were going to be a little bit upset because they people will have a head start. But by head start, it's they're only head start in their own server, right? There may be eventually cross-server battles and stuff and information, but at the moment, it's not that big of a deal, right? So keep that in mind when we're doing this. Now, I think the only place that may have any form of cross server, and I have to double check this even, I'm not 100% sure, maybe places like this, where you guys can see here, I'm ranked, where am I? I'm ranked 5th with all of these people, but it looks like even the division is broken up differently. There's all and then division, right? So even then, I think it's only a few different servers that are close to one another that are kind of competing for these spots. So again, nothing for you to worry about right now, guys. So please jump in the game and enjoy it. Don't stress too much about it. You're gonna be fine. All right, that was part number 1. Part number 2, this one's, I think, just as important to note. Shadow Army. I want to talk a little bit about the Shadow Army and who you can choose. Now you guys can see here, this is the Shadow Army. First thing you're going to want to get is as many of these traces of shadows as you possibly can. If you look at source, it says enter a gate. I'm going to show you guys a way to get quicker shadows for a limited time, okay, or for a limited amount at the very least. So if you go into story mode, guys, okay, there's going to be a certain side quest story that's going to actually give you guys a lot more. So if you look here, chapter 10, both side chapters, you have to do these, okay? Look at this. From here, I got 4 shadows. From here, I got 4 shadows. From here, I'm about to get 4 shadows. This gives 4 shadows, this one and this one. So if you look at it, that's 8, 16, 24. 24 shadows alone just from doing this story. And then the same thing happens here as well, too. Look at this. 4, 4, and 4. So you can get yourself, that's 28, 32, 36, 40. 40 shadows just from here. Okay, so yes, the gates are one of the main ways to get it, but storylines will also provide you with shadows. So do not forget to do these because they're very, very important. And the reason why it's important is because when you go back to the Shadow Army, in order to get yourself another shadow on your team, you have to have 100 of these to unlock one. So for example, I got myself Igris. Obviously, this is available to you as a player as soon as you get. As soon as you beat them and move on to I think level 37, but then to unlock Iron, Tank, or Blades, you have to get yourself another 100 of these shadows. So I was able to do that, and I got myself Tank here. Now I kind of regret my decision. I won't lie to you guys. Let me go through each one of these and explain why. So this is Tusk back here, by the way. Okay, so if I go back here, if you go to your codex, right? This is important so you guys know. The codex will actually break down each of these shadows and what they do with their skills. I didn't look at this originally because I was unaware that this was something we could do. Now that I'm aware of it, I have regrets. Okay, so I chose Tank because I love the bear in the show, in the anime, and the manga. I love them. So here's what he does, right? So you can see here he's a tank. He's currently common, leader of the Snowy Mountain. All team members' defense increased by 6%. Just so you guys are aware, Igris here gives us attack. Okay, so crit. He gives everybody crit. So as long as he's in the Shadow Authority team, everybody gets 4%, right? And these are his skills. You guys can see he does basic attack here. He does a quick four consecutive slashes with his longsword, gathers his power and fires 4 energies at the enemy at a long distance, and then here's his earth slash, which gathers their power, jumps, and then he does 321% damage plus bleed. Cannot be applied to world bosses, unfortunately, which kind of sucks, but it does apply to everybody else, right? So you guys can see here, this does kind of help you out. Now if we go back to tank, who I chose, you get all members get defense. So he's great for like tanking units and people who scale off of defense, right? But that's not most of my units. So see here his attacks 135. He does quick slashes with his claws. Here he does 220% damage. Again, two side slash. Here he does a powerful lunge on the opponent, and then lastly over here he does a stun, which can apply to everybody, which is probably the best move that he has, the tank press. The part that you have to consider is like, what kind of build and team do you have, right? So for me personally, I have a very attack heavy, crit heavy team. Attack heavy, of course, with like Choi, and then crit heavy with like Lim and once in a while, depending who I use, obviously Sungwoo's Jinwoo's is gonna benefit from all of these stats. But I mean, depending on the other characters. Right now, for someone like Iron, if you have a healing team or a tank team with that girl, the water girl, I forgot her name. I think it's Psych Woo or something. You get yourself the HP bonus here. Now with Iron, he does the same kind of scenario, but he does less damage, right? He does 82% damage here. He does 92% damage there. He does 185% damage there, but that's an AoE. And then you guys can see his last move here. He decreases defense on the opponent for 10 seconds. So he's a lot tankier. He has a lot more HP. He'll survive longer, but he's not going to do as much damage for you overall. So if you're looking for a tanky unit, then you want to use him, right? Also provides you defense now. Now, the best unit of all three for DPS is going to be Blades, okay? After Igris, Blades gives you the best buff. He gives you the 3%. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it still does matter. 3% increase of attack to all members. This, of course, will scale off of everybody. And he also has fairly decent attacks here. He has 150% attack here. He has 164%. Remember, this is all based off of Jinwoo's attack, by the way, not theirs. 316% attack. And then, of course, 353% attack. So the crazy thing here to remember is, if you're building Jinwoo, and a lot of people are asking me about the stats, and I'll talk more about stats for him in a different video, attack is going to matter because it's going to scale all of your guys as well, right? And you guys can see here, when you max these guys out, they also create a brand new skill in their repertoire, increases the user's attack by 100%. So that's pretty crazy. If you look over here to tank, he does defense increase by 40%, right? So you guys can see all of these guys will give you something brand new at the highest level. Increases users attack, and then this one here at the highest level gives you a shield to all allies. Oh no, it's granted to all shadows, not allies, all shadows. Okay, so there you guys have it. So what I would do first personally is I would go Igris, then Blades, and then tank, and then Iron. That would be my setup personally for any shadows. But remember, check out those stages, get those shadows, and get yourself rocking with some brand new guys to follow as minions. All right, guys, this is Payne. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.